This conference will now be recorded.
Welcome everyone to our group tonight. And I know everyone, but if we can just go around and do introductions, and we'll start with Andrea.
Hi, I'm Andrea. I live on the North Carolina Outer Banks. I was diagnosed in 2012. I'm on Ocrevus, and I don't need time.
Excellent. Thank you. And Karen, it's lovely to see you. Do you want to go ahead and give all your details?
All my details.
Yes, please.
I haven't come for a while. I did explain why when we're off the mic, and for some reason I decided that I should show up today. So I'm in California. I have non-relapsing progressive MS, and I'm saying it that way because I'm really seeing how doctors don't even know what that means. You know, other than a neurologist. I thought that was important. So maybe I'll speak to that later. And I'm not on any disease modifying therapy.
And do you need time tonight? You said you want to talk about your disease to name, but you need.
I kind of don't like thing when you need time because you're coming in and you have MS and your brain doesn't work right. Do you need time? And so I mentioned I will speak about that later. So then saying, do you need time? It's like, no, I don't need time, but I just thought I would offer that perspective. You haven't seen me in a year.
Yes.
Or more, and maybe I've learned a few things in the last year about
All right.
MS. I don't need the time, and I do watch the recording, and so I'm putting that out there too.
Excellent. And Michelle, you're next on my screen. Would you like to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yes, if you can hear me, it's Michelle, and I'm from Georgia. Have RMMS or RRMS, and I'm on glutamate. That's when they can get it to me. That's glutamate acetate, and just going through the motions, if you will. So I don't need any really time to talk, so I'll just listen because I'm still in my stressful situation. So anyway, thank you.
Okay, thank you. And John, how are you doing? And go ahead.
Hi, I'm John. I'm currently on an icebreaker in the South Antarctic Sea, so I don't have my camera on tonight. I'm originally from Michigan, but I think I'm going to move down here. I don't mind the snow and the ice, and sometimes it's warmer here than it is in Michigan, where I was born. I have relapsed remitting MS. I'm on Zeposia right now, and I yield every second that I would need tonight to Karen. Every microsecond that I would need, I want to hear from Karen.
I love that. Love that. And now Carmen from Canada.
Hello. Hi, all my American friends. I'm Carmen from Canada. I'm in Kelowna, British Columbia on the west coast-ish, not the coast, but west coast province and province of Canada, the country. Anyway, I have primary progressive MS. I was diagnosed in 2014. I'm currently in a randomized controlled trial, so I don't know if I'm receiving a medication or not. And I can't remember the name of the medication that I would be receiving possibly. I have an appointment coming up soon. Anyway, I'll let that go for now. And yes, I would like a bit of time because I'm already starting to talk.
Okay. All right. And
Take the time.
Take the time. Yes. And I'm Jennifer from Michigan, and I have secondary progressive MS. And I would also like time tonight. So I suppose, Carmen, you go first. Yes,
Since
since
I
you
already
had
started
started
yapping.
yapping. We're not.
I just was going to say, oh, what? Sorry. I was just going to say that I have my next appointment coming up at my clinical trials location at University of British Columbia, March 10th, sorry. And I think that if things are going according to how I think they're going, this will be a 6-month appointment of where I will have shown progression of my disease. So I may be switched over to an open label, which means that I would know if I'm on the medication or not on the medication. I'm not sure if I have to do this appointment and then they switch me over. I have no idea how it works. Anyway, I've had a lot of other stuff going on just with referral to a urologist and dealing with some stuff with that. And yeah, just like daily life and managing. So it's just been a lot. I don't know if I've mentioned this before, like we need to downsize and sell our place and find a new place, and we just have so much to go through and get rid of, and it's a lot. And yeah, so it's just, and it's really, really cold here, which I'm not complaining. Like it's winter, it's only -10. It's not like -30, which is Celsius. So, I don't know what that would be, like 20, maybe 15
It's
degrees,
minus
something like
10.
that. Hmm?
It's -10 Celsius where you are.
Yeah,
That's cold.
yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it's cold. Yeah, it's cold enough anyway, and it's cold enough for me that I'm not going out much. Like I've got, outings that I try to sort of group onto one day, but then that leaves me completely wiped out and finished for the next day. And yeah, I think John, maybe you've made a joke about becoming like on a first name basis with paramedics, and so I got to
Oh
meet a
yeah,
couple new paramedics on Saturday night when I ended up on the floor, and
that's so nice.
yeah, but the cool thing is I got to learn about a new tool that's really cool. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of an inflatable seat. Oh my God, this thing is the slickest thing ever. They just slide this little like piece of basically like just a vinyl kind of thing, it feels like. And the paramedic was sitting there in front of me, sort of like with a sheet around me, kind of supporting me. And they fill up the air one layer at a time, and it brings you up to seated level. And then I just was able to stand up.
Oh,
So what
wow.
a slick, beautiful piece of equipment that sucker is. Oh my God. Anyway, I think I've mentioned before my sister has relapsing, well, no, secondary progressive MS, and she had mentioned something about an inflatable tool. So yesterday when I talked to her, I said, "Oh, I got to meet your inflatable friend on Saturday," and she said that one of her friends that was at the house when they came for her to do this, that they found out what it's called, and it's called ELK, ELK, and it's like $3,000, this tool. But seriously, she went out to get it from the ambulance. It's like the size of a small purse, the compressor, and then a little back, like a little bag, about like this, kind of like this. Like if you can see my hands, they're sort of about that size, and it just rolls out and then inflates, and it's a beautiful thing. Oh my God, it was so slick. It was so awesome. I was so relieved because, of course, I'd been sitting on the floor for quite some time and trying to get my phone out of. I dropped it between, like, we have an adjustable bed, so I dropped it between the two mattresses, and it was right down in the middle on the floor. So I thought I'd be smart and go around the other side of the bed and just like stand up and lean down and get it while I had socks on. So my feet started to slip and I couldn't hold myself. So I went down on my knees. So it wasn't like I fell, but there I was on the floor for like an hour and a half. And you know how fun that is. I mean, I was in my pajamas and socks. I didn't even have pajama bottoms on. So it's freezing. And now I don't
Were
have
you
my
home?
phone. So I can't even get a hold of my husband who's down the hall. So luckily I had my reacher with me. I had to like really do some creative acrobats to get my phone, but I finally got it and called him, and then we hummed and hawed for about 45 minutes, and then we finally just called the ambulance. So that was Saturday night. Fun times.
Yeah, no, not fun. But I learned something. I found the
Mm-mm.
elk. You can buy it online.
Yeah.
So I copied it, and when the announcements or the notes from today's meeting goes out, I'll put a link to an elk. So that's really neat.
How much is it?
That would have been smart to
How
look
much
at
is
the
it, Jennifer?
price. Yeah,
Oh,
it's $2,005. Yeah,
yeah.
it's just like it looks like a
Yeah.
little
Worth
gray,
every freaking penny,
it
though.
looks like a little gray pillow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's all there is to it. It's so simple. Anyway,
yeah,
it's got me looking online for different tools because like it's $50, which I mean that's not a lot of money, but you fall and have to call someone 10 times, it's $500. So before you know it, you've paid for a tool that you might find handy. So I've been looking at a couple different things on Amazon and I don't know. I gotta figure things out. So if anyone knows anything about good lifting equipment, I'll take any info you got.
yeah. We have back in the day. Ooh, Amazon has the out cushion for $1,851. So yes,
Oh, that's
but
better.
back in the day,
Say it again.
we
Say
rented
it
out.
again.
The elk cushion is $1,851 at Amazon. Yes, US.
US.
What
But
do you have at home, Jennifer? I mean, what do you do?
we have a Hoyer lift.
Oh, okay.
Um, and when Dan and I got married, just because he's got the MS too, we were able to rent a Hoyer lift and we rented to own. And we're going on being married 20 years. So we paid for it. um, And my only advice to anyone, if you
Mm-hmm.
get a Hoyer lift, disconnect the battery when you're not using it because leaving it hooked up will suck the juice out of the battery. And then when you need to use the Hoyer lift, it won't work. And then I also have a
It's
sit
dead.
to stand,
Mm-hmm.
which is a smaller piece of equipment that I bought from Amazon and that my caregiver Jen can use, and that'll stand me up so she can transfer me to the toilet
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
from my wheelchair so that Dan won't have to do it. So those are my two
Mm-hmm.
pieces of
And the
equipment.
Hoyer, like would that get you off of the floor if you needed it to?
Yes, it
The
will get
Hoyer?
me off the off the floor.
Yeah.
Get me out of bed. Yeah,
One of the
Yeah.
things that you should look for in a Hoyer lift, Carmen, is if it fits under your bed,
yeah.
like the wheels on the bottom, because
Yeah.
we can't use mine in the bedroom. I know in the bedroom, but only
Mm.
because it won't fit underneath our
Mm.
bed. And raising the bed
Mm-hmm.
was problematic to me. I couldn't get in.
And
Yeah, my bed is really high, so I have to actually get up on a stool
Yeah.
in order to actually get onto my bed.
mhm.
Such a procedure. Oh my God.
You're like, I just want to go to bed.
People have no idea how complicated life can be with MS, hey?
Mm-hmm.
No.
And I can weigh in on that bed issue and how complicated things can be with MS. I had to fight really hard to get home health care back in March. And it came with, it shouldn't be a fight because according to CMS, whatever, the Center for Medicare Stupidity is, has,
I like that.
they have guidelines and it says if leaving your home, if you cannot leave your home without assistance, either a person, a walker, maybe not a cane, but but if you cannot leave your home without assistance, it's criteria 1. If you have a medical need that was determined, like my doctor referred me to PT, and she said, and then it got even worse. She goes, oh, and then you have to go see the one PT that she even told me I don't have a therapeutic relationship with. So it's like, what the, I have to go see someone that when there's, dozens of PTs. And then I said, well, then refer me to home health. And she said, well, you don't qualify. And I'm like, what? I mean, at that point, I didn't even know these latest things. I said, just refer me there. Just, like you got time to read regulations. And then, and then the third thing was like, you have a medical need, leaving your home you need assistance. Or if leaving your home, help me out here. Does anyone have the same experience? If leaving your home causes great effort, you qualify. So why am I fighting for something like that? And the rules changed like from the last time I had it. And it came with an occupational therapist. It came with an amazing social worker, but it's only while you're on this program. And anyway, there's other parts to that, but I want to say about the bed. So the OT came to my house because I think even Jennifer asked me a long time ago, but people have said, have you had an occupational therapist come to your house? And it was like, no, but that would be nice, And so it came with her and she said, I'm going to, and it's all regulated time. They as soon as they walk in, they clock it. And she said, I'm going to go around your house with you. I'm going to point out some things. You might not like hearing them. But I'm going to tell you what I observed. I mean, I loved her because she's not afraid of, she's already made that. So she made a comment about my wonderful cart. And I was like, not the cart. I don't want to hear that about the cart. She said, I noticed that your bed is high. Your bed is high. But your legs are kind of long or whatever. But it would be good to lower your bed. And it's like, not my bed. My bed is really great. So it does need, and now I'm really seeing why I need it lowered. And now I'm hearing about what John said. Oh, but if your bed's too low and you need a Hoyer lift, it won't work. And also in January, but that was March, but in January, I got a wheelchair delivered. Well, they don't tell you anything about how to use it or whatever. And it's like, well, you need to get rid of this furniture. You need to move this out of the way. You need to do that. And I'm like, okay. Then she comes in, she goes, you need a chair here. So, like how complicated it is. Every person is just going from their perspective of this is what you need to do. And it's just incredibly complicated. And I don't remember where we started, but I hope I'm adding to the topic because I'm having fog. But I haven't eaten today because I had
the bed. Did you have to change the bed?
Say that again?
Karen, did you have to change your bed? Did you have to change
your
bed?
But I really need to do that. And I have a neighbor who helps me a lot. He just helps me with so many things. So somebody was giving away a bed because, I looked into changing a bed or getting something. And it's just, without all the whatever. See, that's MS. I never used to be this unarticulate. But whatever you know what I'm saying. So somebody was giving away a bed frame, and I thought it would lower my bed a little because he was saying, let's take the wheels off. But he went and he picked up this bed frame. He goes, it's not going to make a difference. I think the thing I have to do is take the wheels off your bed. And then that thing's not going to work. And it just so, because when you have MS, it's so subtle, right? That 1 inch, that 2 inch, that shoe where your foot's going like this, where you need it to be like that. Well, it was working, but now it's not working. And you're constantly having to make these adjustments. And so I know, it's really, I need my bed like lowered even 1.5 inches, which I think the other thing would work. And he goes, well, I don't think that's going to, I don't think it's going to make a difference. And then he did try to do it anyway, but then you got to do something with the middle, like nothing is simple.
Carmen, my bed frame, it only needs to be 3 inches off the ground, and then my Hoyer will sit underneath it. But I'm only 5'6", so I'm a short guy, anyways. So yeah, it doesn't have to be like sky high up in the air. It's just like 3 inches,
Yeah. It's just that
because
little bit that doesn't fit under there.
One of my considerations was, well, my frame, I think I have it, but I don't remember it, but I write it down. I think my frame sits 7 inches above, and you can buy a frame that's 4 inches, but also anything you buy now is crap. Everything is crap. And I love my bed and it's comfortable, and but I read reviews. Maybe I should just get a wood bed, do this, do that, and everything is crap. And it's like, mine's not crap. And even if I get that 4-inch, and now maybe I'll do that, I won't be able to put the Hoyer lift underneath it. There's just,
Do you have a Hoyer lift?
no, I don't need one yet. But every time I
Do
make
you have one?
modifications,
Oh,
you
okay.
learn the next
Yep.
thing that you need to do. And,
Yeah. Yep. Same.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's complicated.
Yep. Exactly.
And are you going to
Yep.
move, Carmen, to in your same area? You're just looking for a more friendly, disabled friendly home?
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, like it's a split level. We have half an acre. We have a separate shop that's a double car garage and an upstairs up there. We've got a yard to take care of. Like it's just way too much. My husband had a heart attack and his health isn't good, so neither of us can manage what we have. But it's just overwhelming because it's been fairly quick, like 22 that I had my knee done. So it's just 3 years ago. I was, independent and just doing my own thing. I was off work, but 21 is when I stopped working. So, it's been a lot of change in 4 years and we have stuff. We lived a
And
full life.
I do listen to the recordings, Carmen, and it pains me because I'm in the same trajectory of decline. It's moving the same way,
Hmm.
so it's very sad.
Hmm. Hmm. Yep, it is. Yep. Yeah, anyway, it is what it is. I can't really change it, so I just try to keep a positive outlook and I mean, that's not always the where I'm at, especially at night when I can't do anything and I have to call my husband to come, please help me pull up my pants because I can't get up from the commode and pull my pants up myself because I'm too tired, and then try to get up on the bed and get up on the stool. It's just, those are the hard times. There's a
Yes,
few tears at night.
those are. I'm sorry to
Hmm.
hear that that's happening to you. It's, yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes I get the feeling like, man, I used to be so good at getting into bed. Like, oh man, getting into bed was one of my favorite things to do. But man, you miss it.
Hmm. Hmm. Being able to just roll in there and snuggle in, like, oh, those are the days.
My big thing is I remember being able to roll from side to side, and now I'm only on one side.
Hmm.
So just those little things. Like, remember when you could just get up and go pee?
Yep.
Like,
Oh my God.
just walk
Yeah.
into the bathroom and just pee? Wow. I mean, I go to
Hmm.
the bathroom now and I just
What a
pee, but I'm
concept.
not on the toilet. It happens. I mean, we all know each other. It happens.
It happens a lot. Yep. I finally
Yep.
just gave up and I just use my commode in my bedroom because like unless I've been good about like getting to the bathroom every 2.5 hours, but
Mhm.
usually I'm not. So I just said, okay, you know what? Whatever. I can't stand up, get my foot plate out of my way from my chair, stand up, take the 3 steps, turn around, get my pants down. I said, screw it. I'm tired of wetting my pants. Like I'm just going to use the commode, give it up. And it's very liberating actually, because all I have to do is just
Mhm.
get rid of the foot plate and stand up. And there it is. I just turn, sit
Right
down,
there.
pee. Oh,
Boom.
well, isn't that lovely? I don't have to spend an hour doing cleanup now, and then extra
Right.
laundry. Like there's enough laundry anyway. Good God.
I do I do two loads of laundry every day
Yeah.
from like pee stuff.
I would if I had a washer on my floor.
I have a
That's
washer
the
on my
other thing. I don't
floor.
even have a machine on my floor. So,
Our machine broke over the summer, and I was like, hey, we're getting a fucking front loader so I can be in charge of laundry.
That
So I'm
independence feels good, doesn't it,
mm-hmm.
John?
Yeah,
Yep.
it's good. Um,
Yep. Yep.
And speaking of
Exactly.
this P talk, I wanted to ask you all a question. When I was, I guess, tell you a story and then ask a question. When I was first diagnosed back a long lifetime ago, I would call my doctor it felt like every little thing, like, oh, I have a new twitch, or oh, there's a new shocking sensation, or I can't
Uh-huh.
touch my nose anymore. And so I would call my neurologist. But now a lifetime has happened and I deal with it differently. But now I feel like I'm calling my urologist all of
Oh,
the time.
oh
And do
no.
you ever worry that you're like
Oh yeah.
overdoing it? Like that I feel like my doctor is gonna be so sick of me. They're gonna be like, go find a new neurologist, leave the practice. You're overstaying your welcome. Do you ever worry about that?
Uh-uh.
How? Or do you guys not
Nope.
call all the time?
I send messages to doctors all the time.
I did Botox on my bladder
Jennifer, you're a pleasant,
maybe
happy
a month
person.
ago.
I
And
remember that it wasn't great for you.
yeah, and I feel like she didn't give me the right antibiotics.
Ugh.
And now I'm going to tomorrow
Mm.
have to call and say, please, can I have some new antibiotics? And so I just
Don't
worry
ever
that,
feel bad about that, Jennifer. You're paying for that service and you're
okay,
overpaying for that service.
okay,
Don't ever feel bad.
thank you. I kind of, I don't know if anybody, it's good to hear that you all feel that way.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. Um,
Absolutely.
when I was first diagnosed, I had my primary care's like home phone number. And I would call him all the time, be like, hey dude, so it's spreading above my knee right now. It would be like, John, we have an appointment next week. Like, yeah, I'm just letting you know before I forget. But yeah, he
Yeah.
was a nice guy. He knew I had MS from the beginning, but he couldn't diagnose me, but he was still giving me like magnesium and gabapentin and all the things that we're just so familiar with now. But
But so many of these providers, they don't know what they're doing. My neurology team are the only people who get it, and so at some point I can, it's not like I need the time, but I'm telling you, I've learned so much in the last year and a half about advocacy and how dysfunctional. And it's not just to say, oh, the healthcare is dysfunctional. That's what you said earlier, Andrea. It's all, but they don't know. I got a cold for a few days ago, and my primary is so busy. I just call urgent care, and I got an urgent care. And usually I get good doctors, but that one, I said, look, I've learned now, don't even bother telling them you have primary progressive, because in my chart it says non-relapsing progressive MS. Well, that sounds good because it's non-relapsing, right? Like, they don't know what it means. They don't know, they don't care. And it used to be buried under a bunch of garbage. Like, a couple of years ago, I happened to see in my chart, I said to my doctor, why do you have things in here? Nobody knows. It's like, oh, you have seborrheic keratosis. Do you know what that is? I didn't know what it was. I thought maybe it was dandruff. It's like, you have a skin tag on my ankle. Women over 70 have skin tags. Why is that on my problem list? Well, because I saw it. And it's like, okay, that should be on an H&P, but why is it on my problem list? Nothing's being treated for it. It's not a problem. So it was like, it was just absurd what I saw in my chart. And so I had to, I said, well, I don't understand. Why do I have, it had the 3 A's. It said I had anxiety. Okay. But, am I being treated for anxiety? Well, I do get therapy. So I'm like, okay, I'll take that one. It was like 2010. Like, I got diagnosed in 2019. So before I got diagnosed, even like 2010, I had 3 things on the chart: anxiety, asthma, and arthritis. I don't really have asthma. I have reactive airway disease. It's not exactly asthma. And so I just have exacerbations. And arthritis, I don't know why it says I have arthritis, because I'm not suffering from arthritis. She said, well, somebody saw it on your chart and you had an x-ray one year, and so we have to leave it on there. Okay. Now, but then after that, we've got seborrheic keratosis. Oh, and also, what else did they put on there? That I have God, it's a horrible thing, but it was after surgery. It's like, it sounds horrible. I can't remember anymore, but it sounded like mania, and it's just like every little thing. And so whenever I see a new doctor for something and they're like, oh, I see you have a lot going on. And it was like, no, I did not come out of surgery while I'm trying to find out what's wrong with me. They said, oh, you have enlarged on your thyroid. You better go get that taken. And that was like 3 fishing expeditions. And then they thought I had, Alexa's amazing because she settled that one for me. Like, why do I have, why did I get my thyroid taken or part of it when I'm trying to find out why I'm falling, and that was 2019. And emergent delirium, that's what they said. That when I came out of surgery, which I had never had before, and also it affected my brain, like to have that anesthesia. Like, I didn't know I had a brain disease. And, then when neurologist says, well, the anesthesia doesn't last. And it's like, yeah, but if you have a neurological disease, maybe it does. So I wake up from surgery, which I had never had. And I wake up and he told me that he was pretty sure I had metastatic papillary thyroid cancer, but he didn't tell me it takes 20 years to kill you. And the only way we'll really get another definitive is we go under the knife. He said, for some people, they want to just keep testing. But for you, and he says, well, if we go in there, you're going to be under anesthesia. You're going to spend the night and we'll take out part of your thyroid. We'll send it to the lab. If it's positive, we'll take out your thyroid. And he was like really lovely and very animated. I said, well, what are the chances, because I'm pretty sure what it is. I don't like what I see. Thyroids are not MS. It's like he didn't. So then I said, well, what are the chances that, you could be wrong? And he went, 10%, like,
Yeah.
he was just giving me a 10% for something. So he was pretty sure he's wrong. So I come out of anesthesia. I'm not even out of anesthesia. I'd never had it. I'm like this. And someone said, they didn't even say, Karen, hello. You got discharge orders. You need to leave. You need to get up, dressed, and leave the hospital. And I'm like, what? What? And I open my eye and I'm like, there's this nurse with a ponytail and glasses. And she said, you need to leave. You need to get up and get dressed. And I'm like, I went, wow, what happened with this surgery? They did what they said they're going to do.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's just amazing. And then the doctor came and with the assistant, and I said, I don't want that nurse near me, like get her away from me. And then I said, is this real? I mean, it's just, can you imagine waking up? I said, is this real? Was I having a dream? And I held him and I went, are you real? Is it, because it was just so unreal. And then he said, remember I told you that I could be wrong? Well, I was wrong.
Yeah.
I was wrong. And and so in my chart, that I had emergent delirium. Well, we don't even know what that means. So you just like, she's got anxiety, she's got emergent delirium, she's got seborrheic keratosis, she's got a lot of stuff going on. She's a frequent flyer. She's got all this crap going on. And it just meant when you come out of surgery, you have delirium. But I wasn't delirious. I was me. I was appropriately fucking angry that they're telling me to go home because I'm a nurse. I'm like, but I haven't even voided. I mean, you can't just send me home like that. In my mind, this is outrageous. And it just went on. It got worse. And my blood pressure was spiked. And then they had to keep me there to get my blood pressure down. And then the head nurse was furious. They were just furious that I'm still there when they had discharge orders. It's like, I didn't have delirium. And so that's in my chart. And it's like, why is this in my chart on my problem list, along with a bunch of other crap like that? So I'm just saying there's so much that could just throw everybody off. And
it's one of those things, like, God forbid you go to a doctor and you tell a doctor that you're sad, or you tell a doctor that you have, I mean, I don't know if it's like that for you, Carmen, or John or Michelle. I mean, it sounds like it is for you too, Karen, where you tell a doctor once that you have a problem and that follows you forever. Just and I don't know if it makes you ever feel like I don't want to tell the doctor something because I don't want that to be on my chart forever. Like, that's yeah, you're shaking your head, Andrea. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, it was found out that I fell down, and so every time I went to a Duke facility, they would put this big giant
Strap you
red
in.
fall risk, bracelet on my wrist
Yeah.
every time I went. And it had been like 2 years and I hadn't fallen. And I still had to wear this damn bracelet every time I went to a Duke facility. And I finally started asking about it. And I went to my GP, and it took him a little while, but he was able to get that fall risk taken off of my record. I was
You can't go to the
diagnosed with
bathroom without help, right?
depression, and it's not depression, it's pseudobulbar affect.
Yeah.
So I've been through misdiagnosis or non-diagnosis, or I have been a frequent flyer since I was in my 20s, but I didn't get diagnosed with multiple sclerosis until I was 42.
Okay. And and
So, Karen, I hear you. It's
And I
um
wasn't a frequent flyer, but like to add to what Jennifer was saying, I don't want that in my chart. Well, now what happens is you get put on the conveyor belt. This is what I've been through the last year and a half. You get put on a conveyor belt. I don't care what's in my chart. I don't want to read my chart because I know it'll just infuriate me to no end. But I get put on oh, you have this. Well, let me send you to someone else. And then that person says, oh, well, let me send you to someone else. So that's just been an insanity that and I called it a conveyor belt because it was. And then we did a project with Hannah, and it looked like there were these I don't know, maybe I'll find the picture, but that picture looks like a kaleidoscope. I said, it was a conveyor belt, but now it's a kaleidoscope. And so you don't ever get off this insanity. It's just
I,
insane.
I I got to be really, really honest, Karen. I don't mind that shit at all.
You don't
well,
mind what shit.
Going to see specialists and stuff like that because I'm
If
just
they'll
very.
help you. If they'll help you.
Oh yeah, they will have great relationships with all my doctors.
But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the system is designed to say, go to someone else, go to someone else, go to someone else. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm totally fine with that. The more you know is my thing, and honestly, that's just it.
Well, I don't think you got my point, but I'm not going to repeat it.
Okay.
Anyway, Jennifer, what started this whole thing was you being worried about asking your doctor too many questions. And you know what? We have a chronic illness and it impacts our life significantly. So we talk to doctors significantly more than the average person. So deal with it, doctor.
yeah,
Yep.
well, I think that this conversation is giving me the courage. I don't think courage is the right word, but just squeaky wheel gets the grease. I mean, Karen, I haven't seen you in forever, as we both
hmm
said, but I still have the same damn neurological problems, and I'm so frustrated. And so I will call tomorrow having this conversation and just be like, I'm sorry, but it didn't go away. So hopefully in 2 weeks I'll have better news. But I hate that, and I don't know if that's
Can I
just
make
a
one little
personal
suggestion, Jennifer?
quality of mine, but I don't want to be annoying. But you're right. That's their job, and I have a chronic illness.
And and you don't have to apologize to the doctor. Do not say I'm sorry. You just say my problem is still going on and what we didn't work, so I need something different. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. I will not apologize.
And it
Be
won't
be great.
guarantee you results, but
And
you still have a right to say, this is what I experienced, this is what I need. And maybe today I'm joining because of
mhm.
all my squeaky wheels. Like,
Yeah. Thank you. I needed that because I seriously, I told Dan he's back doing his homework But I told him I'm gonna have to call. I'm going to have to call tomorrow because I have no relief. It's so uncomfortable.
Yep.
And I'm sorry that we get recordings where I talk about the
Oh,
bathroom all the time, but
Don't
it's so
apologize.
uncomfortable.
well, you're not alone. Hey, the other thing, Jennifer, I was going to say is I don't know what this medication is referred to in the States, but I always ask for Pyridium, and I'd have to look up the actual medical name, but it like it turns your urine bright fluorescent orange, but it totally takes the sting out.
Yeah, yeah. It's called. Oh my gosh, I've got some like so close to me.
Called Pyridium.
Like azo.
It is
Yeah,
Pyridium, P-Y-R,
yeah.
Ew.
Pyridium.
All right. Now I'm
I
gonna
think.
Google it right now.
Carmen,
Yeah.
Carmen. I actually
Yeah,
have a.
I just demand it.
I honestly I
This
pee.
conference will now be recorded.
So like that orange stuff, I've had it, and
Oops.
I have part of my carpet that's dyed that color.
I totally hit the
Yeah,
wrong button.
I've got a pair of underwear that I stain too because it just whatever. But I don't
Yeah,
care. I'll take whatever stain because it takes the edge off like within
yeah,
like not very long. I always make sure that I keep a couple like just in case something starts to happen that I have a
yeah.
couple that I can take.
So
Andrea,
UTIs,
Andrea, we're recording. Is that
yeah,
why you're making the face?
yeah.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
no, I got
The Pyridium.
distracted.
What is this
No,
medicine for, Carmen?
UTIs. I mean, I'm going to forget this because I want to. It's important that UTIs are very common with MS, and because I used to read the Bart's blog in the UK because I don't get information in this country from anything, and they were saying, that it's very common and that you need to have orders on standby, not to wait and do this, and I had a UTI, and I hadn't had any since I was in my 20s. And I had one, I don't know, 2 years, I can't remember, time we don't remember anymore with MS. But, I'm going to say 2 or 3 years ago, I had a UTI and I got treatment for it. And I remember the sequence because I think one doctor ordered this, another one ordered that. But it took at least 3 weeks for it to go away. At whatever
That
I
is
took,
unacceptable.
it did, whatever I took, the first one was because I have the urology nurse, and one of them called it in, and one doctor called, another one called, but whatever it was, when I got the right medicine, it did take whatever 48 hours to make it, but for 3 weeks it was like still, not pyridium worth, not, but it was still like. And so I have a neurology nurse, and I'm like, oh, I heard about this thing, and I'm gonna have like UTIs. Because Karen, you're not gonna have one forever. It'll go away. Because also, you're just frightened. Like, how long do I have to deal? What do you mean? How did this happen? What?
Do you guys remember when I had a UTI that hospitalized me 3 different times?
Yes.
Like you guys remember that, right?
Yeah.
That was 2 years ago.
Oh,
And last spring, when I was living in the hotel, I had one that lasted for 6 weeks, and the pain wasn't going away. It's because I also had a kidney stone. Yeah,
oh, geez.
living in a hotel is not conducive to MS under any circumstance whatsoever.
No.
Especially not a how do I say this? An ADA compliant room.
Yeah.
Oh.
Where my chair could not fit between the bed and the dresser that the TV's on. So, but I did fall there, and I
That was an
met
ADA
2 new
compliant room?
EMTs because we were on the south side of town,
Oh, well,
not the
that's
north
cool.
side of town where I usually fall.
So yeah.
Yeah. So
Were they nicer than your usual?
oh no, they're so nice. They're great because I just said this is what happens, this is what you need to do, and then have a good night. They're like, wow, you know what to do. Yeah, it's not my first rodeo. But yeah, I mean, I've been through it with the UTIs and stuff like that, so it's weird. I only get pain when I have to go. It is not when I go. So my urologist is like, that's a little bit weird. I feel like it's just like it hurts that I have to go, but once I do, everything's a-okay.
Mm.
Okay. Well,
Uh,
I looked up Carmen. I looked up Pyridium, and it's the same as Azo, which is
Yep.
over
oh
the
yeah,
counter here in the
yeah.
States.
Yep.
I don't know if you have Azo in
Oh, you can
Canada.
get it over the counter?
Yeah, it's over the counter.
It's the same thing.
Oh,
Azo and Pyridium.
oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I'm going to tell my mom to get them before they come back up to Canada.
okay.
AZO?
Yeah,
Yeah.
ACO.
So, okay. Well,
Okay,
thank you. That's good.
cool.
Good piece of knowledge. And it's good to see you, John. You're out of where were you in the Arctic?
I was in the Antarctica.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. I just say hi to a couple of people down there.
Yeah.
Yes.
I actually do have 2 friends that live on Antarctica, and that's just weird to be able to say.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
kidding.
they're geologists, so they're studying a lot of
Many
the.
people down there.
Not many. They're on a boat of like 45 researchers, and like it's a gigantic boat, like it's an
Oh, but
icebreaker.
it's summer down there, right?
Yeah. Sometimes he said
Right.
when it gets to be super hot, it's like 55 to 60 degrees. I'm like, I'll take that
Right.
shit right here, right now.
So I have a dance practice that I've done when I was mobile, and since COVID, it it became online. It's not just a dance, it's music, it's dance. It's very hard to explain like what it does, but it's so therapeutic. It's just and lately I've been plopping down in the wheelchair cuz to do stuff, and the facilitator was born in Angola. She was like 5 generations of white colonizers, let's say. And so when she was
Yeah.
10, they went back to Portugal. But she's like, she didn't fit in there. And then she moved to the UK, and she's from Wales. She now lives in Wales. So we've become friends online. But I go to the class. And so like today, I was dancing with a guy in South Africa. And like we got paired up, and then we could even be funny, nonverbal. It was hilarious. And there's people that come from Europe, the Netherlands, Sweden, South Africa. Just someone used to come from Martinique. So I mean, I hear what you're saying. Like they might think you're funny. It's like no, I was just traveling the globe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have
That's cool.
friends in the world that I've never met and I never will meet. And I'm totally fine with those relationships.
Yep.
That's awesome.
It is.
Except for you guys.
Yeah. Well, someday we're
Jennifer,
all
will you come
going
over for
to
dinner
meet.
tomorrow?
We'll figure it.
We'll just meet at the geographic center of where we're all from.
Yes.
Hmm.
So we might end up in Michigan.
We might end up
Well,
in
Yeah, like Iowa or something.
Idaho.
Idaho.
What's under Idaho? What's under Idaho?
Kansas. Yeah.
Kansas, yeah.
Yeah, it might be Kansas.
what's
I don't
under
know.
Idaho? Like Utah.
Oh yeah,
You know,
Utah's
it's crazy.
great.
The job I lost last year, I worked with an entire team of people that I never met in person ever. Like I know
That's
you guys, like we didn't even meet on camera like this.
Oh,
Phone calls, yes,
really
but no, yeah, no
That's
face to
nuts.
face.
as recent as last year.
Crazy.
What archaic company was this? Well, you don't have to say it on the recording. It's okay. Sorry, I don't mean to put you on the spot. But Jesus,
That's
Not a
okay.
sponsor.
It was Conduent. We
I
did
supported
business
nurses
process
4 years ago.
outsourcing, and I worked from home and never met my boss face to face.
Oh, wow.
In this day and age, I cannot imagine not
It's
having any
crazy.
kind of video contact with the team. Like that just seems crazy to me.
You know what? I had the most amazing social worker, but she moved to another department. And I met her. Actually, I met her before I even got diagnosed because after that surgery with my brain, I just couldn't handle this. I have all this testing, whatever. Oh, and it goes along with when I said people don't know what non-relapsing MS is. Like that sounds good, right? It's non-relapsing. And then, oh God, I can see where like my brain's like
Social
being
worker.
foggy today.
Social worker.
But the social worker, I met her before I even got diagnosed.
Meeting on
And
camera.
she was amazing. And we talked on the phone. She was amazing. I just loved her. And then when COVID happened, she would work from home and she liked me too. So she said, you know, so I knew she was working from home and she had her dog. And so so I said, Lupita, I've never seen you. I did find a picture of her. So I have a visual in my head what she looks like. But I said, Lupita, I've never seen you. But I know, you're working from home and that, not being on camera, you can do more, like we'll talk for 2 hours, 2.5 hours. We talk about stuff and we're talking about George Floyd being killed and racism and just like, but she's helped me so much, like how to find care, what to do, how to do things. She's did what a social worker does. Like they don't have a script. They go and meet you where you're at and do that. So I said, I know it's probably, you have more freedom. Not so I've never seen her. And then my neuro nurse, I never knew what she looked like. Because she's like filling in for a lot of that. I talk to her all the time. I never knew what she looked like. I didn't, have a thing in my head. And now sometimes she'll make a phone appointment with me and I'm like, oh my God, look at her with that red hair. She's not what I thought she would look like. So, and I have a great relationship with both of them.
Yeah.
But I'm auditory, so maybe for me it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I feel like, I mean, that there's just, for having multiple sclerosis, it doesn't sound like there's a lot. I don't know. Do you ever get frustrated? There's not a lot going on with the disease, or there's not a lot of new, I don't know, no change is good, but at the same time, you're just like, ugh. I'm frustrated because I want something new to happen. Also, status quo.
Like treatment wise, you mean, Jennifer? Do you mean treatment wise?
Do you
Just,
mean
I
with,
mean,
yeah, like the course of your disease or like the research and the medicine that's available to help
yeah,
us?
I think I'm, I don't want to say frustrated, but if I'm honest, I don't want you to spend any new money on new drugs. I want you to fix the problems that we have. And I feel like they're spending too much research and development for newly diagnosed. When we were diagnosed, we only had 3 drugs, and now it's like, okay, newly diagnosed, you've got 20 drugs. No
Mm-hmm.
more. Let's work on.
Yeah, but so many of those 20 something drugs are just Me Too drugs. They've got multiple Copaxone drugs, multiple B cell depleters, multiple whatever Tecfidera is,
That's what
that
she's
type of stuff.
saying.
Like they've only got like 7,
Yeah,
really, if you take
but
away the Me Too's.
even that, I'm like, I want drugs that are going to help so that we don't
Us.
progress anymore, or if we have, they can make it so that, just, I feel like we're,
I
yes,
was
Well, like myelin repair.
I was
Where's the
just about
research
to
on
say like,
that?
hey, you know what? Like, yeah, fix my fucking
Myelin.
myelin and then we will talk.
yes. And
Mm-hmm.
I
so,
saw like this
Mm-hmm.
thing on YouTube about fecal transplant and how it could
Yeah.
potentially help people not only with MS but other autoimmune diseases. And I went to like look it up, like, are there any clinical trials? And they're all like stopped or paused or not going. And I Googled it, there's a few case studies. It looks really promising. Sounds completely gross, but
Yeah.
you know,
I didn't know that, Andrea, that they're talking
Well, I
about
have a little.
potential treatment with fecal transplants. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah, there was a
yeah,
study at UC. Well, someone told me when I got diagnosed this, and she said, "Well, I would do a fecal transplant." This woman I know who works for Bayer, but it sounded preposterous. But I know there's a. I mean, it's fine if it's like through a study. And this friend is like weird, and she's a coffee drinker, and she's just a weird person. So then I thought, well, who would I get fecal? Like she would do
I'm a
fecal
coffee drinker.
transplant. So I'm like, well, who would I get? I wouldn't want hers. And then, you think about the healthiest person, can I have some of your feces so I could do that? It was just, I mean, she was just so convinced that that's what you would do. So there was a study at UCSF, and I remember writing to them about it. But I want to say something about drugs. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Tying into MS, and then Rick doesn't like it when I am negative about the medical system, but I feel okay, these days because I have such clarity. I feel, first of all, I have a lot of time to lay on my ass in bed and talk about and research things. And I'm not running around all the time, and I feel like I'm clearing my head, and that the clearer I can see things, it's just easier to tolerate. And so I got a cold. I haven't had a cold since before 2020. I never got COVID. I never got a cold. And I called, I'm going to tell the sequence of it, but I didn't realize what was going on. And I can't remember the sequence of when I called, but I usually call the advice people at night because you actually could talk to someone and then they'll make an urgent care appointment. So I got this one doctor who was, I just see now, if this is happening with generic stuff, you can imagine with MS. So I don't know her, and she was snowballing me, and I said, I wanted to get some guaifenesin with codeine because I can't stop coughing, and it's hurting my stomach. It's irritating my airway. But she didn't want to deal with it. She was just going round and round about stuff. And, this stuff happens at 2 a.m. It doesn't happen when you're talking to them at 3 p.m. So she orders this thing, and it came today. And I'm like, benzoate, 100 milligram capsule, generic for Tessalon pearls.
What is that?
Yeah, hello, And then, I mean, I'm frail, I'm older, I'm a nurse, and I could figure stuff out. And then I didn't remember. And, well, it's like an tussin, I think, like dextromethorphan. It was just so, because when it came to that, I was like, what is this for a cough? I mean, what does that mean? You don't have to have MS to be confused about stuff like that. You can just be a regular confused person, certainly an elderly person. And, I can't remember what's the difference. Wait, this is guaifenesin. And then she just was saying, well, there's other things to do and it's not safe. And I said, look, when is the last time I had any guaifenesin with codeine? When is the last time I ever had it ordered? And she wouldn't explain what she meant by I got so snowballed, and she was just saying, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to tell you. I usually don't encounter that, but I'm going to tell you what I'm going to tell you. And if you want, I'll put it on order and you can get it. So I'm going to drive over to pick up some stupid shit, because what she said was, it's supposed to help with cough suppressant. It's supposed to help, but codeine does do it. It's not supposed to do it. So I already knew, oh, it's some supposed to bullshit, so I already knew that. And then I think I had originally called about getting like an asthma med, because I was, it's a cold, so it keeps going from my alveoli to my chest to my throat to, and I was getting fevers. So then I originally just called to say I need like the Advair prescription, whatever. And then they called back and said, well, your doctor ordered it. And that same one, she goes, well, your doctor ordered it. I said, well, who was that? And I said, that wasn't my doctor. Oh, maybe it was a different doctor. So they ordered 3 packs of this stuff that I really shouldn't even need to take, because I was an asthma nurse and I know about it. And thank goodness I'm on financial medical assistance, or I'd be paying for this shit. Like a 3-pack of this. And her whole thing was like, just do that. Well, then I just thought, I'm going to call again. I need this guaifenesin. I had from 2009. I had like a sip and I could sleep. Oh, talking about the peeing. So, now I'm drinking tea. I'm drinking a lot of water. I'm having, these symptoms like walking to the bathroom. I had the same thing as you, Carmen. I can't get off the toilet. My foot is slipping. I'm getting weaker. And with all this, I can't even do the exercise I need to do. Just so, it's so overwhelming. It's just so overwhelming. And so I just thought I'm going to call somebody else. So I said to this other, I think I called at night, and I happened to get a pharmacy tech who was like the call center. I mean, that's unusual. And she said, I'm going to mark this urgent. I hear what you're saying. Like I'm not going to explain all the detail, but I felt heard and she got it. And so I get this other doctor, and she said, well, you know what? There isn't any. There is none. There's a shortage everywhere. I don't know if you'll even be able to find it, but we won't pay for it. And I said, well, is that acceptable that you wouldn't pay for it? And she just kept insisting that, but at least she didn't say it's not safe. You can't have it. I said, so if I find it somewhere else, can I get a prescription called? And yeah, but I don't think you'll find it. So then I called a small pharmacy, and they said, no, we don't have it. There's actually, but I did say to the doctor what I thought already.
Yeah.
They're not making it because it's cheap. They're not making it something that works, and you can get it on GoodRx for $6, and you can go into a Walgreens pharmacy and get it for $20. So they're not making it anymore. So it just hits. I feel this clarity of this is what we deal with here. That we'll give you, and then also my doctor didn't want me to have prednisone, and it's like, I haven't had prednisone since 2017. My lungs are inflamed. And even the second doctor was at least a little better. She goes, well, you're talking to me. Oh, and then you should sit up. And I said, you know what? I'm lying on my back as I talk to you. Well, I can hear you not in distress. You probably don't even need prednisone. I know about this disease, and it doesn't really matter what the evidence is. I'm laying on my back talking to you. No, I shouldn't sit up, because as soon as I get up to go to the bathroom. So I was going to the bathroom. I said, look, I have MS. I can't walk. I'm paralyzed hand. I'm peeing like every hour. I wound up peeing on myself in my bed. It's the first time I ever made it into the bed, because I can't. It's just, they don't care. They don't know what you're saying when you say I have MS. They just don't know what you're saying. And then you should get this. You should get this. So I had it sent in the mail rather than go to pick it up. And I'm like, 3 packs of this stuff. It's expensive, and I don't even need it. And here's these pearls. I'll be curious to find out how much these pearls cost. So I have enough sense to go, you know what? I have some Tylenol with codeine, because I looked it up. Codeine's a cough suppressant. I took it. Half an hour later, I stopped coughing. So you get so.
I don't know if you're reading the message to tonight's meeting, Karen, but Michelle has noted that she also talked about her cough. She said to get Seneca and ammonia, aka snake fruit. And
Oh
then,
yeah, I've heard that before from Michelle. Yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah,
so there are
I'm
a couple
sorry.
notes for you in the chat. So I
And
can
I'm
Michelle,
sorry. Yeah, I'm
Michelle
sorry. Yes,
today.
yes, ma'am.
Michelle, I was
Yes,
in
ma'am.
my dance music thing today, and we were
Uh-huh.
moving to Georgia, and I'm like, oh, I don't
Oh
think
gosh.
Michelle's not gonna sing that song, Georgia, the whole day. She
Oh,
was like,
oh
I don't want to do that. And today you said you were from Georgia. That cracked me up,
yeah.
because you always say I'm from Atlanta. I'm in Atlanta, but you're like, I'm in Georgia.
Oh God, I don't know why. I don't know what's going on. I guess it's that fog too. I go from one thing to another. One day it's Atlanta, one day it's Georgia. I don't know what made me say that. And of
Because
all the
I
places,
because I was channeling you. I was channeling you. I was singing the
I,
song.
I,
I'm like,
yes,
no, Michelle's not gonna sing this song.
I
Mm-mm.
believe that. I believe that for sure.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
Michelle,
I mean,
do you have anything that you wanted to talk about or any questions?
no, just like I said, I was just offering that to Miss Karen because for the weirdest time, and I've been told, things happen. I don't take the flu shot ever, and since I left service, and I don't get sick, but for whatever reason, I've been coughing, and this never ever happens. but I did happen to have some of my snake root in the refrigerator, so I just started taking my little little teaspoon. But if for the first time the teaspoons weren't, I had to take like multiple teaspoons, not just one. I could take one and knock it out, but I had to take I almost had to drink half the bottle. I'm gonna order some more though. I'm gonna order some more from Australia.
Are there side effects from taking too much of it?
You know what? It might be, but you know what? I don't care. I just because I don't cough, and it was just disconcerting to me. I was like, what the hell's going on? I was like, what is this? What the hell? And so I just went ahead and just probably overdosed on it, but I did, and it stopped. Now, I mean, my cousin who I stay with, my patron, psychotic, with PTSD, she works in a damn petri dish called an emergency room of a major hospital. So she said that she could have brought it home. I said, I know you could have brought it home. You work in a petri dish. So where else do you think I would get it from? Where would I get it from? I don't go out.
Yeah, I don't know where I got mine. But, also that thing about side effects. So, they don't want to give me something for, to stop the coughing, to stop the breathing, my airways. So I'm taking albuterol. So what are you going to do? Like you drink all that snake oil? Okay, so I used it and it didn't help. And I used more and I didn't help. So what are you going to do if you don't have anything? You do more. And then all of a sudden you got heart palpitations.
Right.
You got tachycardia. It's like they're not thinking beyond. So today I realized they're not even thinking. They can't think outside of the corporate box. They can't even. They're so. And then I learned that every doctor has 2,200 patients in their panel.
Right. It's a resource poor situation. That's what they're up against. So you have to really.
That's a nice way of putting it, Michelle.
I'm being nice. I'm trying to be cordial. Very much so. Very much so. You have to do for yourself. You have to really understand that we're on our own in this country, or in your we're on our own in this world. You can't depend on man because man is flawed by definition, right? So why would you depend on him to tell you? I mean, I was given for a long time ago when I was going to the VA I had bronchitis. They kept giving me the same crap, and I was paying my copay for it, giving me the same crap. It solved nothing. And that's when I discovered the snake root. I said, and I never looked back, and that's over 15 to almost 20 years ago. I'm going to the VA for help, and you giving me some nonsense. They would give me some glufenazine. I believe that's stupid. I mean, it's like here's some cough medicine, and it didn't work, but I'm paying for it. I said, what the hell with you? I'll take care of this myself, and I did.
I would be paying for this, I would be paying. I don't even know how much I don't need 3. Like, who made that decision that I should get 3 of these? And the advice I got, because I do know, and because I've cleared like a lot of paths. I mean, we don't have time for everything, but I really just cleared so much that I have this clarity that I can parcel it through. And today I just thought about the insanity of this thing. And I tell the doctor, and I tell my doctor, they go, we have 20, everybody's burnt out. And I said, because you don't have an RN, you can't run a clinic without a nurse. You have all these medical assistants. Well, medical assistants, they're not clinical. And so not only is the doctor got 2,200 patients, she doesn't have anybody, and they don't know the difference. They didn't learn. Sometimes I'll say to a doctor, do you remember that class you had in medical school about the role of a nurse? That you didn't have.
This way.
She didn't have it.
I have the better explanation is they have an assembly line. That's what I meant to say. They have an assembly line medicine. That's what it is. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the conveyor belt, the assembly line. But for the doctors don't even realize, and because I said, I'm old enough to remember when there was a nurse. So the MAs, they'll pay 5 MAs. They're not clinical. They don't have the knowledge. So then that doctor said yesterday, well, I know they have a limited scope of practice. I said, no, they don't have a scope of practice. They're not clinical. They don't have a scope of practice. Like, to even use that language, they don't have, so it's just crazy when I have to do something because they can't really convey the messages. So this system is so crackpot out that you really have to. But another thing though with Jennifer, I don't think you have one, but maybe you can find access, because what's really helping me is having an advocate, within the medical. And in my case now, it's my neuro nurse. I don't know, I don't want to admit, because if I say it, it'll go in my chart. I would go postal. I would either kill someone or kill myself if I didn't have someone to help me navigate. And everybody says, Karen, but you're so good at that. You know what to do. That would be like telling Alexa she needs an advocate. She's like, Alexa's on steroids. She makes me look like nothing. You know, like I don't know what I'm talking about. I mean, and I know how to push, and still, it's constantly fighting for everything. I got on that home health care in March, and then I get a call. I got this stupid nurse who, PT. She spent 90 minutes. She told me what she's going to need. I watched her for 90 minutes sit right where I am and enter data in her thing, asking me about, well, what about this medicine? You know, I was asking about Advil. I said, do you know anything about it? You told me to show you what meds I have. And now you're going through my chart to ask me about every medicine. Do you know anything about it? So why are we talking about this? You know, and she was just so thrilled to just put all this stuff in the thing, gave me bad advice, gave me the wrong exercises. And then someone else came out. And then I get a call from the
they got to check
manager.
your, they need to check your medicine because they have a medical responsibility to do that.
It doesn't, I don't, John, I don't really need an explanation of why they needed to do it. But what I'm saying is, if I don't get care while this is going on, I said, so you're going to just be here for 90 minutes? I said, are you going to do anything for me? So she had a few minutes. Well, then they sent out another one. And then I get a phone call from 2 days later, or the next visit she came. And the second one's trying to follow the first one's protocol, but the exercises were bad. Then I get a call from Kyle, the home health manager, saying, you don't need, you know, you shouldn't be on home health care. I said, really? You know, and anyway, next time Becky comes to your house, I'm coming with her. I said, really? You're coming to my house whether I want it or not? He said, that's right. I'm like, I don't fucking think so. So I called my neuro nurse. And, you know, I could not manage without that. So Jennifer, just, you know, feeling bad that you're calling someone, no, you know, and I called her up and she got through and she said, you don't have to have them come to your house, you know, and then again, she came out and then she found out about my lift in the back. And so then he calls me again the following week and he goes, well, Becky said you have a lift and you just need to come into the clinic. And like, nobody's thinking, I mean, you need to come into the gym, you know, and nobody's thinking, I'm homebound. I need the help in the home. So you know, so that someone can see what my home is like, not send me home with some papers. So the occupational therapist can show me what I need to do to improve my life. The social worker could help me because I need help. And I haven't been able, you know, it's like they don't even see that. So, and I found out he had 2 days left in that department. And he had 2 days left in that department. He's still trying to mess with me because the revenue, see, I look in this stuff. The revenue is higher the first month you get care. The second month is that. So then they sent me the amazing, I love this man, this from Texas, you know, and I got this PT and he's 31 years old. We just fell in love, like right away. We fell in love. And he's in my bed, in my bedroom. I'm on my bed. And when I exercise, I can imagine Greg standing at my bed and I'm doing this. And he kind of wanted me to count. And I'd say, Greg, I don't like counting. I mean, and he goes, well, counting is better. So I went, you can count on me like 1, 2, 3. I'll be there. And I know when I need you. Because I'm like, I'm a singer. I can count like measures. I can like, I don't want to go 1, 2, 3.
You're
4.
also a performer. So not just being a singer, but a performer as well.
But to have a man, a big tall man standing at the foot of my bed. And when he's not there, I imagine him being there to help me. I mean, this is like, and he also got my
Ron,
thing.
Are you trying to say something? Do you want to say something about this?
Yeah, just before I go, I've been dismissed twice. So this is no longer a safe space for me. So see you guys soon.
John, I'm sorry. Why have you been dismissed?
Karen's dismissed me twice for having different opinions. So, sorry.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you feel that way. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And that shouldn't make you feel that way. And I apologize.
I think he's frozen or he's left.
Yeah,
And I was also told I yield my time to you. So, but
yeah, he's
yeah.
gone.
But
I think we do have to sometimes just be a little bit careful about how we respond to people that are just trying to interject a little bit, because
Well, you know what?
I did kind of hear that a little bit,
When we
Karen.
when we go off the camera, I will explain. Okay. When we go off, I'll finish. Remember, we said we would talk a little bit after. So, you know, maybe we should do that because, yeah.
Well, then I will turn off the recording.